I just got back from a run. Let's see if the jaunt works. We first need to make sure that our activity is in Strava, so let's do that. Dope. Let's check the elevation curve so we have a reference. Cool. And then we just got to run this Python code and theoretically it should work out. Cool, so that ran. We see a bunch of new activities because I didn't run this code in a little bit. And let's see if we got some new waveforms. Perfect, there's one for today. And let's drag this into Vital. Perfect, let's go. All right, dope. So I'm gonna go shower and let's get back to it in just a second. If you haven't watched my previous video, then take a lap. I'm just kidding, you can stay. But today I'm gonna show you how we can automate what we discussed last time. This involves using Strava's API to automatically pull data and then transform the routes into waveforms. Strava is a social media platform to track physical activities. You can add your homies, give kudos, post photos, and just see what other people are up to. It also has some really great metrics, and it's just a centralized place to look at your fitness over time. It's genuinely one of my favorite apps because it promotes physical well-being, and you're able to stay connected to people that you might not otherwise see on a regular basis. It's gas. Other than being a fire app, Strava plays a necessary role in automating the data retrieval process for us. Apple doesn't have a way to automatically pull data from the health app, which is relevant to the DOJ's lawsuit against them. But regardless, anytime we would want new data, we would need to manually export it, and that's just too much, man. This is where Strava comes in. Strava is able to connect to the health app on your phone, and it will automatically create a new activity whenever you record something on your watch. What's even better, Strava has an API which will allow us to automatically pull new activities from the application, and it's the missing piece that we need to automate the conversion of routes into waveforms. Very cool. But if you're sitting there thinking, what the is an API? Don't worry, I got you. API stands for Application Programming Interface. This can be thought of as a set of rules that enables applications to communicate with one another and share information. A good analogy that I've seen is that an API is like all of the controls within a car. The steering wheel, gas, the brake, the gear shifter, etc. You don't need to know any of the internal mechanics of the car, you just need to know how to interact with the controls in order to drive. An API is much the same. It defines how we interact with the server by providing a set of rules, commands, and protocols to follow. You don't need to know any of the internal mechanics of the server, you just need to know how to interact with the API to pull data. Much like how there are different types of cars, gas or electric, automatic or stick shift, there are different types of APIs that have different features. And even then, if two servers utilize the same type of API, each will have a slightly different way of interacting with the application, much like how there will be different controls in different types of cars based on its brand or model. Okay, let's get to the specifics of Strava's API. Strava utilizes a REST API. This is the most popular and flexible type of API used today. Here, the client sends requests to the server as data. The server uses this client input to start internal functions and then will return data back to the client. To utilize Strava's API, we need to register an application and grant it access to our user information. There is a very helpful Medium guide that I will link in the description, which covers everything you need to know about creating the API application and setting up the connection in Python. I will also leave my code in the description as well. Once we've set up our application, Strava has several measures put in place for data security. It's like going to a party. You can't just show up without an invite, so Strava requires a client client ID and a client secret in order to verify that we are who we say we are and we're on the invite list. Strava also doesn't like it when guests pull up to the function empty-handed, so you need to bring a refresh token with you. In exchange, Strava will give you an access token and let you into the party. Strava has a pretty clear set of rules in their documentation about what data you can actually pull and various other features of the API. In our case, we are interested in seeing all of our activities and getting the routes from each of our runs. One important note is that Strava does impose a daily limit on the amount of data that you can pull, so that's just something to keep in mind when designing your application. Before filming, I already extracted all my activities from Strava and saved it as a CSV file. I did this so that I can grab the date of the most recent activity and tell Strava to only pull activities after that date. This prevents us from going over the daily limit and restricts our pull to only new activities. We will add those new activities to the CSV file, sort it, save it, and we're good to go. Then for each new activity, if it's a run, ride, or a walk, basically anything with positional data, we will grab the elevation, longitude, and latitude and store it in a data frame. Then we can perform the transformation showed last time to turn it into a waveform. Save it as a WAV file, and we're good to go. With just the press of a few buttons, we have a fully automated pipeline of transforming our activities into waveforms. This truly comes full circle if we think about music as having an influence on exercise performance. Personally, I always listen to music when running or working out, and I can't imagine doing it in silence. Admittedly, sometimes I do listen to my own music when exercising, so if you think about it, we are running to make sounds and making sounds to run to. That is about it and all I wanted to cover today. I hope you found this interesting or learned something new today. As always, take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Peace. Gas.